The year is 2035, marking the official dawn of a new technological era. This virtual world is built so realistically that it is indistinguishable from reality. Majestic landscapes and ancient villages appear vividly before our eyes. Even the AI-controlled characters act as naturally as real human beings. That irresistible allure has drawn hundreds of millions to connect to this world together. Everyone is immersed in their connection pods, ready for a brand new journey. A desolate scene unfolds where a bloody battlefield has just passed through. Heart-wrenching screams ring out as sharp blades pierce straight into the soldiers. The army falls into chaos as they witness their comrades collapse under a surprise attack. Amidst the smoke and dust, Raoul emerges with an overwhelming presence. The soldiers roar in fury, pointing their blades directly at Raoul. Even though Raoul stands there alone, the enemies continue to charge frantically. Commander bellows, ordering the execution of the Empire's enemy. Raoul remains undaunted, facing a barrage of relentless attacks. The system records that Raoul currently holds the 13th rank on the Connect leaderboards. A blade pierces through the enemy, finishing them off in the blink of an eye. Activating his psychic-type ultimate, Raoul completely dominates the battlefield. A soldier screams as he charges, completely unaware that death is drawing near. Raoul focuses with high intensity, ready to deliver a counterblow. A burst of energy explodes, knocking back all surrounding enemies. The archer squad receives their orders, and a hail of arrows is released like rain. Raoul summons his energy, creating an invisible shield. Using his psychic powers, he catches every single incoming arrow. In an instant, everything grinds to a halt mid-air. The enemy is shocked to see their attack completely neutralized. Raoul counterattacks, turning those very arrows into his own weapons. The arrows reverse direction, piercing straight into the army that just attacked. Raoul dashes forward at terrifying speed, the blade in his hand carving a sharp arc through the air. Without giving the opponent time to react, Raoul delivers a fatal blow as magical energy erupts around his blade. The strike is so fast the opponent can't even move, he only manages a cry of pain before collapsing. Simultaneously, Raoul controls a swarm of hovering weapons, creating a rain of swords that plunges into the army below. Soldiers scream in panic as they realize they are facing Raoul's top-tier psychic skill. The terrified eyes of the defeated turn toward the sky, where death is raining down. Hundreds of weapons glow with a cold blue light, ready to finish off anyone standing in Raoul's way. Raoul manipulates his mana, turning the blades into a storm of death that sweeps across the battlefield. The army loses all control as pure panic consumes those who remain. With a powerful wave of his hand, Raoul pours all his strength into the final strike. The rain of weapons descends all at once, crushing all resistance in the blink of an eye. A deathly silence hangs over the hall following Raoul's brutal massacre. Bloody footprints stain the floor, marking every step Raoul takes. Indifferent, Raoul walks over the scattered corpses, heading deeper inside. A scene of desolation unfolds before him as Raoul approaches his final objective. Raoul stops, his eyes filled with suspicion as he senses something is wrong. Coughs slightly, exhaustion beginning to show after the fierce battle. Hellas sits there, his aged face etched with despair and a grim acceptance of fate. A strange light glows from the pendant, the very item Raoul has been searching for. Raoul's eyes flash, he has finally found what he needs. Hellas whispers of prophecies and the saviors he had long hoped for. Raoul draws closer, reaching out to seize the item from Hellas' hands. He grips Hellas' hand firmly, his every movement radiating a cold indifference. Hellas screams, accusing Raoul of bringing calamity upon this world. Raoul nonchalantly snatches the pendant, completely unbothered by Hellas' curses. Raoul retorts coldly, blaming the greed of the guilds and the Empire. Hearing a noise in the distance, Raoul realizes the guild reinforcements have arrived. Without a moment's hesitation, Raoul turns and walks away, leaving Hellas amidst the ruins. Hellas breathes his last, still believing that everything was ordained by the gods. Raoul's gaze hardens with murderous intent, he vows to make those responsible for these crimes pay a heavy price. Raoul stands silently before an ancient altar in the eerie stillness, preparing for his next move. Raoul grips the treasure tightly, his black glove wrapping around his wrist as if ready for war. Activating magic, a circle of energy glows beneath Raoul's hand, emitting an overwhelming surge of power. The door to the secret passage slowly opens, Raoul steps forward, his shadow stretching long across the cold stairs. As Raoul ventures deeper, his voice drops low as he recounts vital pieces of intelligence. Shock is written all over Raoul's face as he sees what lies within the hidden chamber. Legendary items emit a mystical aura, floating in midair, waiting for their master. Raoul can't believe his eyes, these are the very first legendary items to appear in the world of Connect. Standing before this priceless treasure, Raoul feels the weight of history and the dark conspiracies behind it. 5 years ago, the collusion between the major guilds and the Empire led to the total collapse of this world. Raoul tells himself that all his efforts over the past 6 months were for this fateful moment. While the guild seized power, Raoul remained the only solo player standing in the top 100. Raoul flashes a cryptic smile. He knows that if he claims them first, those guilds will surely go livid. It's time to withdraw, but Raoul suddenly freezes when he spots something unusual on the floor. An old game cartridge lies there alone, leaving Raoul stunned by its presence in such a place. Holding the strange object, Raoul wonders why something so mundane would appear here. Suddenly, a surge of electricity shoots through his body, causing Raoul agonizing pain as his face contorts. Raoul collapses, a scream of agony escaping him as the system begins to suffer an unthinkable glitch. A connection error notification appears. Raoul panics, wondering how this could possibly be happening. The Connect interface device lies silent, bearing witness to the player's sudden catastrophe. In the real world, Raoul convulses inside the machine pod, fresh blood gushing from his chest in agony. Raoul realizes with horror that everything is spiraling out of control in the worst way possible. A group of strangers appears, coldly staring down at Raoul as he gasps for his final breaths inside the pod. Enro calmly calls his superior, confirming that the target is now within their grasp. Receiving orders from the other end, a sinister smile creeps across Enro's face as he decides to finish the target off. Enro mocks Raoul, sneering that his trivial fame in the game won't do him any good now. One of the men orders Raoul's head to be covered, preparing for a brutal execution. A cold, sharp blade is raised, the light reflecting off the steel signaling a merciless end. Raoul snaps awake, his pupils shrinking in pure terror. A blood-curdling scream echoes through the empty room as Raoul bolts upright in bed, consumed by intense panic. Raoul looks down at his trembling hands, his breathing heavy and filled with disbelief. Raoul can't believe his eyes, the memory of the fatal stab still haunts him, yet here he is, safe in his own bed. A sudden, sharp pain jolts through him, causing Raoul to let out a soft cry. Anna approaches with worry, her green eyes filled with concern as she asks about Raoul's condition. A strange light flickers in Raoul's eyes. He stares at Anna as if seeing something invisible to the naked eye. An information panel appears right before Raoul's eyes, showing Anna at level 3, leaving him utterly stunned. Raoul can't believe what he's seeing, a strange system interface manifesting right in front of him. The system notification confirms his soul has stabilized and begins activating the closed beta version. Raoul is stunned by the user keyword. Raoul can't help but doubt, is all this madness real or just a cruel, twisted joke played on him? Peering through the window, Raoul begins to realize the horrifying truth that is slowly unfolding. The scenery outside is no longer his old reality, it is the world of Connect, the place where everything began for Raoul. The ancient castle towers amidst the void, the starting point for Raoul Ashton's destiny. Raoul Ashton leans against the railing, his eyes fixed on the emptiness. He senses a strange energy enveloping the surrounding space. Raoul Ashton is stunned to realize that this sensation is completely different from the times he had synchronized with Luz in the past. The system alerts him about the synchronization. The connection level is the key that determines a player's true power. While ordinary players only reach a 30% synchronization rate, Luz once reached nearly 90% in the past. Luz dominated the one spot for a decade. Raoul Ashton gazes at his own aura, feeling a profound sense of sorrow for his current body. Raoul Ashton wonders if he is truly the only player left in this closed beta test. Raoul Ashton reaches out, trying to touch the hidden system interface. Miraculously, Raoul Ashton's personal inventory panel still appears clearly in the middle of this test. Raoul Ashton's eyes ignite, a glimmer of hope sparks in his mind. The system begins updating the locked user data. Raoul Ashton is determined to use all the knowledge from his past life to climb to the summit once again. Pain surges as memories come flooding back. Raoul Ashton realizes he is a member of the prestigious Ashton family. A scene of ruin, with raging fires covering the territory that was once the pride of the Ashton family. Raoul Ashton is shaken. Could he be the first one to fall in this game? The Ashton family, one of the noble houses of the Reuben kingdom, faces tragedy as the Count and his eldest son suddenly pass away. A coup breaks out right after Raoul Ashton inherits the title. The barriers of the restricted area are shattered, and monsters swarm in, slaughtering everything in their path. Raoul Ashton knows his status well. He cannot accept this tragic end. Looking down at the beautiful city, Raoul Ashton swears he will not let it be destroyed within the next 3 years. Raoul Ashton is determined to change the future, not letting history repeat itself. Raoul Ashton understands that he no longer possesses the power of Luz. This is his final chance. Raoul Ashton clenches his fist, the pain of his past life still haunting him. There is only one way for Raoul Ashton to prevent this collapse. Only 1 month remains until the Ashton family's traditional coming-of-age ceremony begins. Raoul Ashton makes up his mind, if he makes it to the semifinals, he will qualify to enter the kingdom's academy. Raoul Ashton grips the hilt, his gaze resolute. He will protect his life in this place. A loud collision echoes as Raoul Ashton falls to the floor with his sword, marking the start of a grueling journey. His body is truly too weak. After just a few swings of the sword, Raoul Ashton is already gasping for air. A notification panel appears confirming that Raoul Ashton's level is only at 5. Raoul Ashton is shocked to realize the 2-level gap with his attendant, a hard truth to accept. There is no time to hesitate. Raoul Ashton tells himself he must start training immediately for the upcoming tournament. The day of the tournament arrives, with flags waving atop the fortress marking the decisive moment. Raoul Ashton is overwhelmed by the sea of people pouring in to attend the tournament. Raoul Ashton's gaze narrows. He knows he will have to face these formidable opponents. Raoul Ashton collapses on the ground, remembering the painful days spent clearing the qualifiers. Raoul Ashton checks himself. He knows his level 13 is ready for the battle. Raoul Ashton's eyes glow with intensity. The plans for the matches are ready in his mind. Raoul Ashton draws his sword, bracing himself for the fierce clashes about to unfold. A blue glint flashes in Raoul Ashton's eyes as he focuses intensely on his target. A powerful sword swing tears through the air, creating a surge of violent force. Raoul Ashton freezes, realizing that his own sword swing has accidentally caused a major incident. Dion appears with a sneer, sarcastically asking if Raoul Ashton is actually participating in the tournament. Dion continues to provoke him, mocking Raoul Ashton for assuming he would just be crying in his room. Raoul Ashton recalls the days of being mercilessly bullied by Dion in the past. Because of the family motto, Raoul Ashton had to endure wounds that no one would take responsibility for. Raoul Ashton looks straight at Dion, warning him to back off while he still can. Dion roars in anger, declaring that he will break every single bone in Raoul Ashton's body. Dion maintains his playful expression, taunting that Raoul Ashton is about to burst into tears. Raoul Ashton calmly turns his back, completely unmoved by Dion's provocations. Dion wears a sinister smile, his eyes filled with nothing but contempt. Raoul Ashton smiles faintly, whispering to himself to keep laughing while he still can. Raoul Ashton firmly declares that he will crush Dion right in the final round. The butler respectfully presents a detailed report on the day's tournament proceedings. Raoul Ashton takes the report, curiously asking if there were any notable talents discovered. Raoul Ashton goes silent as he reads the vital information recorded in the report. The butler asks about the whereabouts of Raoul Ashton, who has just finished his meal and returned to his private quarters. It seems that Raoul Ashton spent all his energy in the recent qualifiers and needs time to rest and recover. In light of that effort, orders are issued allowing Raoul Ashton to rest. Raoul Ashton, the father, quietly observes the situation with a thoughtful expression. Raoul Ashton, the father, clasps his hands, seemingly reflecting on the journey of his son, Raoul Ashton. He cannot hide his pride as he exclaims that this is indeed his son, Raoul Ashton. Looking at the list, Raoul Ashton, the father, is stunned to see that Raoul Ashton has actually advanced to the group stage. He recalls that he never forced Raoul Ashton to learn swordsmanship because he was physically weaker than his siblings. Yet just 1 month before the tournament, Raoul Ashton began training like a madman. In the early days, Raoul Ashton could only last 10 minutes before collapsing, but he never gave up. Raoul Ashton, the father, knew well that Raoul Ashton was bullied for his weak physique, but he chose to stay silent so he could stand up for himself. He understood that if he intervened, Raoul Ashton would only feel the shame of being unable to handle things on his own. Now, Raoul Ashton's perseverance has far exceeded any expectations Raoul Ashton, the father, had ever set. Seeing the silhouette of Raoul Ashton lying exhausted on the bed, Raoul Ashton, the father, decides it is time to visit him. The final day has finally arrived. The arena is packed with spectators waiting for the explosive battles. The crowd in the stands screams non-stop, urging the combatants to put on a spectacular show. Raoul's bully loses patience, roaring in fury and demanding to finish off Raoul Ashton immediately. Despite being worn out, Raoul Ashton tenaciously grips his sword, leaving the bully to wonder why he still hasn't fallen. In the arena, Edmund delivers a massive sword strike, forcing Raoul to exert all his strength to defend. Raoul grits his teeth, his blue eyes flashing with determination as he parries Edmund's blade. Edmund lets out a bitter roar, his fierce expression revealing clear frustration at being unable to end the match quickly. Edmund shows no mercy, continuing to pressure Raoul with powerful, heavy slashes. Raoul steps backward, his steady feet struggling to maintain balance against the immense pressure from Edmund. The distance between Raoul and Edmund gradually widens, both maintaining a tense combat stance. The spectators in the stands begin to whisper, unable to believe their eyes at what is unfolding. Raoul pants heavily, drenched in sweat, but his eyes never once leave Edmund. Even though exhausted, Raoul remains hyper-focused, preparing for his next counterattack. Edmund screams, his patience having reached its breaking point. Edmund swings his sword, creating a sharp cutting arc, determined not to let Raoul escape. Edmund throws out taunts, mocking Raoul's status while unleashing his attack. Raoul nimbly lowers his center of gravity, narrowly dodging Edmund's lethal strike. Raoul retorts with a calm remark, driving Edmund even further into a rage. The collision between the swords of Raoul and Edmund creates sparks that illuminate the entire arena. Raoul catches his breath, tightening his grip on his sword, ready for the finale. Receiving an order from the sidelines, Edmund decides to unleash his most powerful technique. Edmund pours all his damage into this decisive blow, leaving no room for retreat. A deep blue mana aura envelopes Edmund's sword, creating an overwhelming pressure. The audience is shocked in unison, realizing that Edmund has activated Mana Sword. Edmund charges forward like a storm, aiming straight for Raoul with the intent to finish him off. The power from Edmund's strike tears through the air, leaving behind a powerful shockwave. Edmund is stunned to see that his strike does not make Raoul flinch at all. Raoul stands tall, showing no intention of dodging the powerful strike from Edmund. A massive explosion occurs, with dust clouds completely obscuring the audience's vision. All eyes are fixed on the center of the arena, anxiously awaiting the outcome between Raoul and Edmund. The smoke and dust gradually clear, revealing an outcome no one expected. Raoul has emerged victorious, causing Edmund to collapse completely to the astonishment of everyone. Raoul looks up at the stands, officially etching his name onto the list of victors. Edmund screams in fury at the match result. He cannot accept that Raoul is the one who won. Edmund refuses to give up his attack, but Raoul coldly retorts with disdain for Edmund's reckless actions. Raoul points directly at the wound on Edmund's neck, warning that if he hadn't stopped the match in time, Edmund would have lost his life. Memories of the lightning-fast attack flood back. Raoul clearly understands Edmund's true objective at that moment. It was a lethal strike aimed straight for the throat, a vicious finishing move that Edmund had executed. Edmund staggers backward, his confidence slowly replaced by fear of Raoul's true strength. Raoul calls out Edmund's name, his commanding tone forcing Edmund to flinch. Raoul declares that he will soon settle the score with Edmund for his disrespectful attitude. Edmund trembles, realizing that after this tournament his nightmare is only just beginning. Returning after the match, Raoul receives dedicated service from his maid. The door clicks shut, the privacy of the room finally allowing Raoul to shed his facade. Raoul cannot contain his excitement, he has truly emerged victorious. Immediately, Raoul activates his personal status window. A level up notification appears. Raoul's swordsmanship skill has reached level 9. Raoul smiles as the plan he painstakingly prepared has yielded results beyond his expectations. Raoul exploits the game mechanics, intentionally dragging out the match against Edmund to maximize his experience points. The longer the fight continues, the more massive the amount of experience points Raoul accumulates. However, Raoul is well aware of the price he must pay for this gamble. This game mode grants a massive experience multiplier when Raoul strips away Edmund's ability to resurrect. This is the very difficulty setting that Raoul is currently facing. Raoul recalls his initial complaints about the system. The stat board appears clearly, confirming that Raoul is at level 19 in hard mode. Unique traits are still waiting for Raoul to unlock them. Raoul realizes that the spiritual master skill is exactly what his previous enemy once possessed. Meanwhile, Royal Bloodline is a unique power belonging to Raoul himself. Raoul is confident that the remaining abilities will gradually be unlocked as he levels up. Raoul decides to test this new power immediately. The next target has been identified. Raoul awaits the upcoming matches in the tournament. The red flag flutters in the wind, the symbol of the Bloody Labyrinth tournament has been hoisted. Raoul stands tall on the arena floor after defeating Edmund, the cheers echoing throughout the stands. Edmund collapses at Raoul's feet, his breathing ragged in pain. Raoul gazes down at Edmund coldly, the victory is firmly in his hands. The audience cannot believe their eyes. Raoul has advanced straight to the finals. Although Raoul has won, the people around him still arrogantly insist it was only due to luck. Suspicion rises as they wonder if Raoul is using tricks no one knows about. Raoul keeps the secret of his spiritual ability, a hidden weapon, before other players emerge. Raoul decides to keep his telekinetic ability a secret, treating it as his vital trump card. Raoul is confident in his skills, enough to deceive everyone. Knock sounds at the door, and a servant enters the room to report the situation. The servant kindly inquires about Raoul, worried if he has sustained any injuries. Raoul reassures him that he is fine, as he always has a support team on standby. The servant reminds Raoul that there are wounds that even priests or healers cannot cure. Raoul feels the sincere concern, a strange sensation he never experienced in his past life. At Raoul's request, the servant hands him an important document. The servant is concerned about the upcoming opponent, Dion, but Raoul responds with complete composure. Raoul's gaze is unwavering, he firmly asserts that he will win. The servant nods trustingly and departs, leaving Raoul alone with his unfinished plan. As the servant walks away, he ponders Raoul's confidence, which reminds him of the Count when he was young. Dion, the final opponent, is known for his ruthless strikes that strike terror into anyone who faces him. Raoul glances at the document, his eyes gleaming with calculations over the massive reward money. The legal betting system is the gold mine that Raoul is currently targeting. With this money, Raoul's standing within the family will be firmly secured. Now, the only thing remaining is the final battle. Raoul stands before Dion, the atmosphere between them becoming intensely tense. Dion wears an arrogant smirk. He is ready to crush Raoul on the arena floor. Raoul does not waver. He grips his weapon tightly, prepared for a life-or-death duel. The final match begins, and the atmosphere in the arena is heating up. As the crowd roars incessantly, Raoul Ashton stands his ground, calmly facing the pressure radiating from Dion. Dion doesn't hesitate to hurl insults, branding Raoul Ashton as nothing but a weakling. Dion scoffs, asserting that Raoul Ashton making it to this round is a monumental mistake. Dion sows seeds of doubt in the hearts of those cheering for Raoul Ashton. With arrogant flair, Dion yawns and declares he will soon sever Raoul Ashton's limbs just for his own amusement. Raoul Ashton remains unfazed, responding to Dion with a mocking yawn of his own. Raoul Ashton coldly asks Dion if he is finally finished with his nonsensical babbling. Dion's patience has run out. He clenches his fists, emanating a murderous intent. Raoul Ashton observes Dion, thinking to himself that Dion is merely trying to put on a tough facade. Status window appears. Dion's potential is capped at B rank, marking the absolute limit of his abilities. The match officially begins as Dion roars and charges forward, intent on finishing off Raoul Ashton. The ground trembles beneath the weight of Dion's powerful strides. Raoul Ashton instantly raises his sword to parry the lightning-fast attack from Dion. The clashing of their blades sends sparks flying, tearing through the air. Raoul Ashton is the one to seize the initiative and launch the first strike. Raoul Ashton's sweeping blow forces Dion to struggle desperately to defend himself. Dion stumbles backward, a cry of pain escaping his throat. Livid with rage, Dion screams and curses Raoul Ashton for daring to humiliate him. Raoul Ashton maintains his calm composure, noting that Dion's agility is far worse than he had anticipated. Raoul Ashton continues to overwhelm his opponent, dismissing Dion's strength as nothing to worry about. Dion panics, wondering why all of his attacks keep missing their mark. Raoul Ashton sees through every one of Dion's sword techniques, fully exerting control over the match. A single, nimble step from Raoul Ashton completely shifts the tide of the fight. Dion loses his balance and crashes to the ground, leaving everyone in stunned silence. The truth comes to light. It turns out that Dion had been bullying Raoul Ashton in the past. Dion's bloodlust explodes, and he swears to kill Raoul Ashton at any cost. Raoul Ashton observes coldly, his mind focused on only one thing, the surge of mana swirling deep within his body. A deafening clash echoes, leaving the surrounding crowd shocked by the sudden turn of events in the arena. Raoul Ashton delivers a decisive counterattack, cornering Dion right in the center of the arena. Wrapped in an aura of dark mana, Raoul Ashton eyes Dion with clear boredom. Raoul Ashton stares straight at Dion, coldly dismissing him as a complete nothing. Humiliation makes Dion tremble violently as uncontrollable rage begins to cloud his judgment. Unable to contain himself, Dion lets out a wrathful scream and lunges straight at Raoul Ashton. Raoul Ashton steps aside effortlessly, well aware that Dion is still caught in his own stale traps. With a single, simple move, Raoul Ashton sends Dion tumbling into the dirt. Standing tall above him, Raoul Ashton mocks Dion for staining the family name with his uselessness. Dion roars in desperation, swearing to finish Raoul Ashton no matter what it takes. Raoul Ashton gives Dion no chance, landing a fatal blow that sends him flying backward. Dion collapses in pain, his breathing growing heavy after the impact. Raoul Ashton stands watching Dion lying motionless on the arena floor. The match is all but decided. The audience in the stands can't believe their eyes as they witness Dion being taken down so swiftly. Dion lies there, completely unable to fight back, leaving everyone in shock. Raoul Ashton remains calm, his gaze untroubled by the outcome he just achieved. Raoul Ashton turns to the referee, requesting a decision on whether to continue the match. Raoul Ashton stands amidst the applause, sheathing his sword with pride. The fans chant Raoul Ashton's name in unison, unable to believe he could pull off such a spectacular victory. Raoul Ashton smiles with relief, but exhaustion begins to wash over him. Fatigue strikes, and Raoul Ashton collapses to the arena floor the moment his victory is confirmed. A system notification screen appears before his eyes, and Raoul Ashton is surprised to see the mission details. The tournament quest is complete, and Raoul Ashton receives a generous reward from the system. With this victory, Raoul Ashton has finally secured his chance to enter the Royal Academy. The Emperor watches from above, his eyes filled with pride as he observes Raoul Ashton. The Emperor ponders in amazement at Raoul Ashton's rapid progress over the short span of just 1 month. The Emperor realizes Raoul Ashton was toying with Dion, and if he has truly reached this level, he is nothing short of a genius. Raoul Ashton stands firm, his gaze remaining resolute even though the path ahead remains filled with unknowns. The Emperor sits there, his expression stern and authoritative as he watches Raoul Ashton. Raoul Ashton confidently asserts that he has the capability to enter the academy. The Emperor maintains a cold expression, unmoved by Raoul Ashton's words. Night falls over the mansion, and the atmosphere becomes more suffocating and tense than ever. The Emperor flatly rejects Raoul Ashton's request. Raoul Ashton is stunned, unable to believe what he has just heard. Raoul Ashton protests, arguing that his performance in the semifinals is enough proof that he is ready to leave. The Emperor remains firm, demanding that Raoul Ashton continue to stay by his side. The Emperor reminds Raoul Ashton of his exhaustion after the match and teaches him that the path of swordsmanship never ends. Raoul Ashton stands tall, questioning the Emperor about his previous teachings. With unwavering determination, Raoul Ashton insists he will head to the academy regardless of the Emperor's interference. The Emperor is taken aback by Raoul Ashton's stubbornness. Despite his stern nature, the Emperor cannot help but silently admire Raoul Ashton's growth. Raoul Ashton holds his ground, showing no intention of backing down before the Emperor. The Emperor draws his sword, setting a final challenge that forces Raoul Ashton to surpass him if he wishes to leave. Raoul Ashton stands rooted to the spot, facing the high-pressure challenge from the Emperor. The massive army marched forward, the rapid sound of hooves echoing along the paths leading toward the majestic fortress. Sitting inside the carriage, Raoul Ashton let out a sigh of relief. At last, Raoul Ashton had escaped that place. Without a moment of hesitation, Raoul Ashton gripped his sword hilt, determined to face the challenge ahead. Jake launched a powerful strike, the burst of energy causing the space around them to tremble violently. Raoul Ashton braced himself, recalling the moment he had recklessly charged at Jake. Jake looked at Raoul Ashton with contempt, growling and asking if that was truly the extent of Raoul Ashton's strength. The swords of Raoul Ashton and Jake clashed, creating blinding sparks as the harsh sound of impact rang out. Jake unleashed a powerful technique, a blue aura enveloping his blade and completely overwhelming Raoul Ashton. Sent flying back, Raoul Ashton was shocked to realize this wasn't just a test, this was the full extent of Jake's power. Everything seemed to have been destined from the moment the world connected. Raoul Ashton pondered, telling himself he must meet Jake's expectations since Jake had allowed him to leave. Under the shade of a tree, Raoul Ashton swore that he would grow stronger to protect his family. The towering castle appeared beneath a deep blue sky. Jake stood with his arms crossed, his cold, sharp gaze fixed on Raoul Ashton. Jake looked at Raoul Ashton and called out to him with a stern voice. The majestic statue of a knight stood guard before the family crest. Jake questioned Raoul Ashton's persistence after so many failures. Raoul Ashton stood firm, his steady gaze affirming that he would never give up. Jake sneered, clearly satisfied with Raoul Ashton's incredible perseverance. Jake laughed aloud, praising the noble spirit of the Ashton lineage within Raoul Ashton. Raoul Ashton focused intensely, preparing to deliver the decisive blow. Jake challenged Raoul Ashton to charge in, inviting him to land his final strike. Raoul Ashton's sword movement was so unexpected that Jake couldn't help but be shocked. The cut on Jake's face bled, serving as proof of Raoul Ashton's successful strike. Raoul Ashton held his sword steady, his cold blue eyes filled with killing intent. Blade vibrated violently as the tyrant smirked. Everything ends here. One must admit that Raoul Ashton is no longer a child, he has become a proud swordsman. Crush all barriers, Raoul Ashton. It is time for you to stain your enemies with blood and write your own legend. Step out and trample this entire world beneath your feet. The army rested by the fire, the sound of murmurs and whispers echoing incessantly. Raoul Ashton asked Luz how much further they were from their destination. At their current pace, they would arrive in 5 days, and Luz was considering whether they should pick up the speed. Raoul Ashton refused, wanting to maintain the pace so the soldiers would have time for training. Luz immediately obeyed. Raoul Ashton calculated that the family had selected a total of 50 people, including himself and the servants. Among them were 3 official knights, 6 squires, 15 trainees, and 20 cavalrymen, all possessing potential of B rank or higher. Raoul Ashton was satisfied, their numbers and skills were not bad at all. Jake reported that the carriage maintenance was complete and they could depart at any time. Raoul Ashton nodded in approval. Jake was still wondering why they had to take so many people to that place for an entire month, but Luz quickly signaled him to stop questioning Raoul Ashton's orders. Raoul Ashton smiled enigmatically, affirming that Jake would fully understand everything once they arrived. The reason behind all these preparations was something Raoul Ashton understood clearly, like the back of his hand. Mira, one of the very first cities that players set foot in after completing the tutorial. This place is filled with countless hidden quests and items, while imposing restrictions on mana usage to prevent senseless massacres against new players. Above all, the resources here are inexhaustible, driving players crazy over this place. The Land of the Gods, a place where lurking dangers await. This is a place teeming with monsters for players to grind for experience. The Land of the Gods is the very reason Raoul Ashton brought everyone to this city, so that his soldiers could level up faster. Suddenly, a system notification echoed before Raoul Ashton. The system had updated, unlocking community connectivity and a guild catalog along with new quests. Raoul Ashton was surprised that a quest appeared the moment he arrived in Mira. Raoul Ashton once thought he wouldn't be able to use any further features until the official game launch. He hoped to unlock more if he met the requirements. Jake knocked on the door to inform him that Raoul Ashton could meet Reynaldo now and asked for his instructions. The majestic city hall of Mira appeared before them. Reynaldo, the mayor of the free city of Mira, was surprised to have a visitor. Jake introduced Raoul Ashton, the youngest son of Count Ashton, who had brought 50 people with him. Reynaldo couldn't help but wonder about his third son, who was famously known for being weak. Reynaldo sat in his office, calculating the purpose of Raoul Ashton's visit. He didn't care about the real reason, only thinking about how to squeeze money from Raoul Ashton's wealthy family. Raoul Ashton appeared, wearing a cryptic smile as he greeted Mayor Reynaldo. Reynaldo feigned warmth, enthusiastically welcoming his noble guest, Raoul Ashton, to the free city of Mira. Two shook hands as a formality. Despite appearing polite on the outside, Raoul Ashton inwardly despised Reynaldo's fake smile. Reynaldo probed for the reason behind Raoul Ashton's visit to Mira. Without hesitation, Raoul Ashton bluntly expressed his desire to find an ideal place for training. Reynaldo hurriedly asserted that Mira was the safest place, but Raoul Ashton knew all too well that this place was not as simple as Reynaldo claimed. Raoul Ashton made a request to enter the cursed forest, leaving Reynaldo stunned. Reynaldo immediately objected due to the danger, but Raoul Ashton just observed calmly. Everything was proceeding exactly as he had planned. Raoul Ashton sighed, feigning regret as if he were forced to give up on his plan. Raoul Ashton played his trump card, threatening to throw 500,000 gold in rewards into the river. Reynaldo's face shifted immediately, panicked by the astronomical figure. Reynaldo quickly stopped him, adamantly denying it and claiming it was just a joke. Seeing that the money had swayed Reynaldo's mind, the mayor immediately changed his tune, agreeing to grant Raoul Ashton permission to enter the forest at once. Raoul Ashton smiled victoriously. He knew clearly that Reynaldo's greed would be easily conquered by material gain. Goal had been achieved. Now was the time for Raoul Ashton to begin the grind to harvest all the valuable rewards. Welcome to Mira, a city of freedom with a towering spire, home to secrets yet to be unearthed. Built as a haven for players, Mira remains eerily deserted during this closed beta phase. Except for one person, Raoul Ashton, who is strolling through the silent rows of buildings. It is precisely this emptiness that has pushed Mira into a severe crisis. Massive guild buildings stand side by side, yet there isn't a single soul living in them. The inevitable consequence: land prices in Mira have plummeted without restraint. But for Raoul Ashton, this is a golden opportunity. His true objective in coming here is real estate. Raoul Ashton snaps up cheap land in Mira, waiting for the perfect moment. He envisions a future where these plots increase in value 100-fold, along with the housing for the influx of players to come. The war breaks out. Just as Raoul Ashton remembers, Mira will become the ultimate shelter. In the past, merely renting out land in Mira was enough to earn a fortune. But that is not enough. Faced with the turmoil of the coming war, Raoul Ashton needs to be far more prepared. Those detestable large guilds. Raoul Ashton couldn't do anything against their financial power in his past life. Raoul Ashton is facing a contract, contemplating whether to sign his name. Call rings out, prompting Raoul Ashton. Raoul Ashton remains cautious, calculating every move thoroughly before taking action. The patience of those around him has run dry. They urge Raoul Ashton to sign immediately. Raoul Ashton slams the documents down on the table. The decision has been made. Neon confirms that the procedure is complete, with a total of 51 people participating. The registration for the first guild is officially finalized. Raoul Ashton has established the very first guild in a world devoid of players. Now, all members will receive support from the system. Raoul Ashton cannot help but feel excited seeing the bewildered expressions of those around him. The group heads to the Mira branch office of the Combat Association. Yuna appears, wearing a welcoming smile and asking how she can assist them. Raoul Ashton cuts straight to the point, requesting to see their highest-grade skill books. Skill books are precious sources of knowledge, containing techniques ranging from F rank to S rank. Yuna explains that this branch only provides up to C rank skill books and they are exclusively for VIP customers. Raoul Ashton presses for the requirements to become a VIP, to which Yuna replies that it requires significant contributions to the association or a large sum of expenditure. Without hesitation, Raoul Ashton bluntly asks for the price. Yuna bows her head, her voice trembling slightly as she reports the astronomical figure required. Raoul Ashton nonchalantly tosses a money bag onto the table, demanding to see the D rank skills first. Yuna's eyes light up, enthusiastically listing the available skill book categories. Raoul Ashton offers a sly, meaningful smirk. Without a second thought, Raoul Ashton buys out every single one of those skill books. Luz strains himself, his face turning red from carrying the heavy stack of books on his shoulders. Luz asks skeptically, while Raoul Ashton remains calm, walking with a stack of books in his own hands. Luz grumbles about the waste of money as the group continues to move forward. Raoul Ashton only laughs, reassuring Luz that the answer will soon be clear by tomorrow. Night falls and the building sinks into a deep silence. Raoul Ashton sits in the middle of a room filled with books, sighing softly at the overwhelming quantity. Raoul Ashton ponders the limitations of skills that ordinary players have to face. Raoul Ashton focuses his mind and summons the quest board before his eyes. Raoul Ashton recalls the moment two strange items appeared in his inventory upon awakening. Raoul Ashton stares at the system interface where the two mysterious items remain with question marks. Raoul Ashton's eyes flash as he opens his inventory, ready to uncover the secrets. The first item appears. It is the sealed skill book. The quest board requires Raoul Ashton to collect and register at least 10 skill books. Raoul Ashton holds the book in his hand, wondering if the registration process is truly that simple. The book vibrates, emitting a powerful surge of energy the moment Raoul Ashton activates it. Purple light envelopes Raoul Ashton as a stream of mana begins to be absorbed into the system. Skill information begins to be recorded into the book automatically. The empty book falls to the floor, its internal energy completely drained. Raoul Ashton exclaims in astonishment as he realizes this method is actually working. Raoul Ashton notices that all the mana in the book has vanished after a successful registration. Looking at the pile of remaining books, Raoul Ashton worries about having to process them one by one. Suddenly, all the remaining books float into the air simultaneously. Raoul Ashton is stunned as the system activates automatically, absorbing a mass of books all at once. Each book falls to the floor one by one after being fully registered. Raoul Ashton stares in disbelief at the notification windows appearing before him. He cannot believe what he is reading. The skill book in Raoul Ashton's hand glows, a sign that his efforts have paid off. The system announces the completion of the skill collection quest, unlocking the rare dex skill and the EX rank privileged skill collector. Raoul Ashton closely observes the information on the mimic skill, an ability that allows him to increase the success rate of learning skills from books. Information regarding the EX rank skill is confirmed once again by the system, asserting the overwhelming power Raoul Ashton has just attained. The mimic skill reaches S rank, allowing Raoul Ashton to steal and use the skills of opponents within a B rank limit. Raoul Ashton cannot help but be amazed by this power. The ability to steal other skills is beyond imagination. The system lists details about the dex skill, a mythical item containing knowledge of hundreds of ancient skills. Raoul Ashton recalls that this was the very same mythical item he obtained just before the moment he died. Raoul Ashton realizes that even after being reincarnated, his memories and items from his past life have followed him, even though his skills were reset. Raoul Ashton checks his inventory again, finding only 3 EX rank privileges and one final mysterious item remaining. Raoul Ashton gazes at the unidentified item in his inventory, feeling a sense of bewilderment wash over him. A brilliant blue sky appears before Raoul Ashton, marking the start of a strange new beginning. All around, people begin to buzz with excitement about the strange status boards and features that have just appeared. Raoul Ashton bows, observing the reactions around him. Raoul Ashton, with dark circles under his eyes from lack of sleep, stares blankly into space. Raoul Ashton contemplates how to explain the system features to others. The system confirms that it has correctly followed every instruction Raoul Ashton provided. Raoul Ashton continues to test the skill book. Raoul Ashton evaluates the workflows quickly and precisely. Raoul Ashton demonstrates his wind control ability in the palm of his hand, the very reason he is so confident in his power. Powerful whirlwinds surround Raoul Ashton's hands, a testament to his latent strength. Raoul Ashton is overjoyed to find himself mastering the power of wind. Raoul Ashton's status window appears, confirming his incredible ability to manipulate the wind and his impressive power. Although his base stats remain low, Raoul Ashton's innate talent as a superpowered entity is undeniable. Raoul Ashton prepares himself. The crucial moment is fast approaching. A massive shadow with glowing red eyes emerges, signaling that a journey filled with danger is about to begin. In the midst of the dark space, eerie sounds echo with a threatening presence. Melon roars, closing in on Raoul with extreme aggression. The attack slams into the ground, creating a violent tremor. Raoul smirks with contempt, mocking Melon for being far too slow. Without giving Melon a chance to react, Raoul lunges forward with terrifying speed. A powerful punch strikes Melon directly in the face, leaving him dazed. Power explodes, and blood spatters everywhere following the direct collision. Melon collapses at Raoul's feet, ending the battle in an instant. Raoul coldly challenges the remaining ones to show themselves. The rapid footsteps of a monster horde are closing in, surrounding Raoul. The monsters scream for blood, charging forward to attack Raoul. Umi bellows, ordering all subordinates to attack simultaneously. Monster swarm pours in like a flood, engulfing Raoul. Standing in the center of the encirclement, Raoul calmly faces imminent death. With a decisive step, Raoul prepares to launch his counterattack. With a confident smile, Raoul provokes the monsters to come at him. This cursed forest isn't just a hunting ground, it is the domain of the gods. Here, the monsters are blessed and their numbers are infinite. Humans cannot respawn here, nor can they take any loot outside. Any item taken out of the forest will instantly turn to ash. Those who steal from the gods will pay a heavy price. But those harsh rules only apply to ordinary people. As players, they have the privilege of taking items out with them. Thanks to the system's support, they can transcend all limits. Course wonders why his teammates still have time to chat while Raoul is carrying the battle alone. Raoul swings his weapon, shredding Umi's attack to pieces. Umi is terrified by Raoul's overwhelming power. Sharp weapons rotate, ready to finish off anyone standing in the way. Raoul stands in mid-air, controlling sharp blades to surround the target. Raoul coldly asks with supreme authority. Raoul's sudden appearance leaves the opponent in shock, eyes glowing with resentment. The blades spin at maximum speed, tearing through the air and lunging straight at the opponent. A lethal blow lands, blood splattering in the instant the opponent fails to react. Raoul calmly activates his psychokinesis skill, his hand reaching out as if crushing space itself. Raoul stands nearby, unable to hide his excitement witnessing Raoul's overwhelming power. Even as Raoul showcases his terrifying abilities, Raoul doesn't forget to remind Raoul to focus on gathering loot. Course size feeling bored with this manual labor, yet he must admit the effectiveness of the training process. Raoul concentrates intensely, a flow of black energy surrounding his body as if waiting for a summoning command. The confident smile, Raoul shares the secret of power advancement with everyone through skill books. Course remains silent, inwardly agreeing with what Raoul has just asserted. Course swiftly draws his weapon, ready for a quick finishing blow. The crescent slash skill is activated, a streak of blue light carving a deadly arc across the battlefield. A thunderous scream echoes as the enemy is blown away by an irresistible force. Course stands firm, looking down at the fallen enemy with a smug expression. Raoul explains the reason why he prioritizes investing in skills over bulky sets of armor. Course cannot help but be amazed by the sheer efficiency that Raoul brings to the table. Course wonders how Raoul managed to possess such a rapid skill-learning ability. An unexpected notification from the guild chat channel leaves Course completely stunned. Course's eyes widen, panic clearly visible on his face. Course hurries to break the dire news to Raoul about what is happening within the guild. Raoul responds coldly, killing intent radiating from him as he decides to return to Mira immediately. In a dark corner, Jerry and Kale are plotting a bloody scheme. The victim collapses under Jerry's blade, desperate cries of pain echoing through the air. Jerry calmly rests his hand on the hilt of his sword, satisfied with his own cruelty. Jerry smirks, his patience having run out after observing those youngsters. Jerry's blade pierces through the victim, ending all resistance in pure agony. Jerry mocks the one he just finished off, his tone dripping with contempt. Jerry stands over the enemy's corpse, regretting not taking action sooner to settle everything. The final victim gasps out a question with their last breath, facing imminent death at Jerry's hands. Amidst the chaotic battlefield, Jerry does not hesitate to swing his sword and seal the fate of the defeated. Ramon, the eldest son of Earl Randall, appears with a murderous smile. Beside him is Jerry, the second son of the Randall family, his face bloodstained and filled with extreme excitement. And of course there is Kale, the third son of the Randall family, watching the slaughter with a cold gaze. Despite being on the brink of death, the soldier does not forget to shout a warning about his master's revenge. Without letting the opponent say another word, Jerry swings his cold blade down decisively. A heart-wrenching scream echoes through the air as Jerry's fatal strike finishes the victim. The soldier's face contorts in ultimate agony before collapsing at Jerry's hand. Jerry laughs like a madman, urging Ramon and Kale to finish things quickly so they can go find that young lord. However, Jerry begins to feel uneasy as he realizes how strange it is that the enemies keep constantly reviving. Another warrior falls, roaring in absolute resentment against Jerry's brutality. Jerry remains unfazed, arrogantly declaring that he will deal with Raoul next. Jerry tramples on his opponent, confident that no one can touch the Randall brothers after what they've done. Jerry calculates that annihilating the Ashton family right now would be a highly beneficial move. Jerry fantasizes about being praised by his venerable grandfather after this great achievement. Suddenly, a fatal blow strikes Jerry directly in the head, causing fresh blood to spray everywhere. Kale screams Jerry's name in shock as he witnesses the horrific scene. A powerful magical hand appears, engulfing the space surrounding Jerry and his accomplices. Jerry, Ramon, and Kale are all stunned, unable to believe what is unfolding before their eyes. Raoul's appearance causes the atmosphere to become incredibly tense. Raoul coldly declares that the death of Jerry's group is not nearly enough to atone for the crimes they have committed. Raoul stands his ground, facing the enemies who are poised to attack. Raoul carefully observes the enemy's weapons, wondering if they are utilizing Randall's sword star technique. The leader sneers with sheer arrogance amidst the thick, swirling fog. Showing no fear, he brazenly taunts Raoul about his ability to heal wounds in the land of Mira. Despite being vastly outnumbered, Raul remains calm and responds with absolute confidence. Raul mocks the group, claiming they haven't practiced at all since setting foot in Mira. The enemies are stunned as Raul pinpoints their fatal weaknesses. Raul points out that even though the soldiers have been healed, they are still trembling with the fear of death. Terror flashes in the enemies' eyes as they realize Raul is no ordinary warrior. The opponents realize that Raul is not only well-versed in martial arts but can also see through every combat technique. In their eyes, Raul has now become a genuine threat. The leader orders his cohorts to provide cover as they prepare for a coordinated assault on Raul. The ground shakes beneath Raul's decisive footsteps. Raul channels all his power into a decisive strike. Sword in Raul's hand emits a powerful, blinding light. The battle erupts violently with swords clashing and sparks flying. Raul's gaze is sharp, leaving not a single opening. Raul launches a lightning-fast attack with terrifying speed. Raul's strike inflicts heavy damage upon his opponents. The opponent spots an opening in Raul's guard and decides to unleash a finishing blow. Enemy lunges straight at Raul, intent on ending him. Raul roars a warning as he senses the incoming danger. A blinding flash of light erupts from Raul's sword. Raul executes a precise counterattack, sending the enemy flying back. Raul berates the opponent for their stupidity before delivering the final blow. Raul tells himself there is no more time to waste on them. Activating his sword eye, Raul tracks every movement of his opponents. Raul assumes his stance, ready for the final showdown. Raul grips his sword tightly, his blue eyes burning with determination. A rain of fiery magic descends, engulfing Raul in a sea of flames. Raul smirks, immediately recognizing the formidable power of this technique in a direct confrontation. Clashing fiercely, Raul struggles to use his spiritual energy to withstand the relentless assault. Sweat dripping down his forehead, Raul tells himself he must maintain the rhythm of the battle at all costs. The opponent is utterly shocked, unable to believe that Raul could turn the tide so quickly. Raul launches a powerful counterstrike, completely overwhelming his opponent with sheer dominance. Step by step, Raul corners his opponent, forcing them to retreat in desperation. The opponent grinds their teeth, desperately trying to escape a precarious situation. The opponent screams in frustration, unable to bear Raul's contemptuous gaze. Raul calmly announces that the skill assessment has reached its maximum level. The opponent stands frozen, unable to comprehend what is happening to their own abilities. Raul seizes the moment, unleashing a razor-sharp strike to disarm his opponent. The opponent is stunned, watching in disbelief as his weapon is snatched away in the blink of an eye. The system notifies that the analysis of the opponent's skill is complete. The skill copy ability is ready for Raul to activate. Raul swings his hand, controlling the opponent's sword to fly back and attack him. The opponent panics, unable to believe his eyes as his own weapon turns against him. The sword streaks through the air at blinding speed, aimed directly at the opponent. Raul catches the sword, activating the power he just copied. The blade vibrates violently, emitting the aura of the opponent's very own skill. Raul declares the activation firmly, enveloped in a brilliant blue aura. The meteor's skill erupts, illuminating the entire combat zone. Raul leaps into the air, unleashing the perfect finishing blow. The opponent stands frozen, unable to comprehend how his own skill is being used against him. The meteor strike descends, crushing all of the opponent's resistance. The opponent collapses, only managing a desperate cry of agony. With his final breath, the opponent still cannot grasp who Raul really is. Amidst the bursting light, the opponent screams in terror as he witnesses his own sword technique being countered by Raul. Raul coldly retorts, affirming that it was the opponent himself who taught him this technique. Shock is etched across the opponent's face as he cannot believe what he has just heard from Raul. Without a moment's hesitation, Raul delivers a fatal blow, the blade piercing through the opponent's final defense. The system announces synchronization has reached 100% and the Randall sword technique Meteor has been recorded into Raul's skill archive. Raul admits that using this S-rank copy skill is mentally taxing due to its immense power. The copy skill allows Raul to simulate an opponent's moves, provided he maintains absolute focus on the target. That is why Raul did not blink once while taking the hit, as direct combat is a mandatory condition for skill copying. Raul checks his skill board, where a list of powerful moves awaits activation. Thanks to the skill archive, Raul can flexibly utilize 3 additional skills, optimizing his power in battle. A flicker of suspicion crosses Raul's face as he realizes the presence of someone else. The opponent trembles, screaming in terror as he sees Raul skillfully execute his own sword technique. Raul orders Sir Philip to kill the opponent repeatedly every time he revives for the next hour. Sir Philip respectfully complies, ready to execute Raul's ruthless command. The death sentence is issued by Raul, leaving no room for mercy. The opponent kneels at Sir Philip's feet, begging for mercy in desperation. Raul's eyes flash with a cold light as he declares the law of blood for blood. As the screams echo, Raoul clearly understands that this is no longer Earth or a simple game. Raoul accepts this cruel reality, continuing his path forward through the thorns. The opponent collapses in pain, while Raoul remains steadfast in his goal. Raoul and his subordinates stand firm, ready to advance to achieve their final objective. The noble gazes through the binoculars in shock, his face deathly pale, unable to believe what is unfolding before his eyes. The noble's plan falls apart completely as the mercenaries he hired are swiftly taken down by Raoul. Single-handedly, Raoul has wiped out 15 enemy knights, leaving behind a scene of utter devastation. Raoul casts a cold glare toward the lurking noble, his gaze sharp enough to pierce through to the very soul. The noble cowers in panic, desperately trying to find a way to escape. Overwhelming fear consumes the noble as he wonders how Raoul managed to pinpoint his exact location. Raoul's silhouette appears like a nightmare right behind him, leaving the noble with nowhere left to run. Trembling, the noble realizes that all his schemes have been completely exposed by Raoul. Gasping for air, the noble is forced to accept reality and resolves to make peace with the Ashton territory in the future. Raoul sighs in relief, musing that he might have gone a bit too far in the recent battle. The system notifies him of the completion of an urgent quest with generous rewards. Raoul cannot help but feel satisfied. Not only does he gain experience, but Raoul also walks away with 5,000 gold and a highly convenient spatial magic bag. Raoul proceeds to inspect the rare pair of weapons he just seized from the scum of the Randall territory. The most valuable reward is the B-rank skill draw ticket, a real steal for Raoul. Recalling his previous failed attempts at drawing skills, Raoul shudders at his own bad luck. Raoul clasps his hands in prayer, hoping that this time the system will at least grant him a mid-tier skill. With trembling hands, Raoul tears open the skill draw ticket, waiting anxiously for the final result. Blinding light erupts from the ticket, and Raoul silently prays for a favorable outcome. Raoul's eyes widen in surprise as he watches the magical light envelop his reward. The system announces that Raoul has obtained the B-rank Rivera spear technique, leaving him incredibly thrilled. Raoul feels smug as luck finally smiles upon him, for spear techniques are exactly what he needs for his upcoming journey to the capital. There is still one more important objective in Mira that Raoul has spent an entire month preparing for. Raoul steels his resolve to successfully execute this final plan. Time flies, and a week has passed since that day. Raoul launches a lightning-fast attack using the newly acquired spear technique. The critical strike lands directly on Melon, causing it to roar in agony. The system notifies Raoul that he has leveled up to 51, opening up new opportunities for power progression. The system confirms that Raoul has successfully leveled up. His class officially changes from swordsman to sword technique expert, and his psychic abilities are upgraded to the intermediate level. Raoul's teammates cannot hide their astonishment, marveling at his exceptional talent for achieving this title at only 15 years old. Raoul raises his hand, focusing his powerful psychic energy, preparing to showcase his newfound strength. The surrounding boulders begin to levitate, manipulated by Raoul to spin in mid-air through his psychic powers. Raoul gives a crisp command, sending the rocks flying at extreme speed. Psychic power erupts, and the colliding rocks create a fierce shockwave. Raoul quickly grips his sword hilt, ready for his next combo attack. Raoul dashes forward, leaving deep burrows in the ground due to his terrifying movement speed. Raoul activates his move, launching himself into the air with overwhelming force. Raoul's strike hits the ground, creating an energy explosion that sends debris flying everywhere. Raoul stands firmly amidst the wreckage, reflecting on his achievement while his teammates shower him with praise. One team member laughs, suggesting the group take a break after the intense training session. The other member immediately retorts, teasing the one who asked for a break for his laziness. Faced with his comrades bickering, Raoul could only offer a wry smile while they continued to joke around. Raoul cut the conversation short, asserting that he had no intention of resting just yet. Raoul instructed his comrades to keep his power a secret, as he wanted to announce it to the family himself later on. Raoul reminded his comrades to be careful with their words, causing the atmosphere to turn serious. Raoul told himself that all preparations were complete, just waiting for the prey to fall into the trap, and gave the order to retreat. Raoul ordered his subordinates to move quickly and not to delay. The townspeople were bustling about, and life was unfolding as usual in this place. A woman stretched to relax after a tiring day of work at the pharmacy. She remarked on the current popularity of medicines, a promising sign for her business. She looked at the rare ingredients on the shelf, wondering if they were thanks to the Ashton territory. Holding ingredients from a monster in her hand, she explained that they were indispensable for concocting medicine. Thanks to people from the Ashton territory bringing in ingredients regularly, she had been able to produce medicine every day. Not only that, but she was also frequently checked on by the townspeople regarding her health and daily work. As she walked, her mind was still lingering on her encounter with a special person. She silently felt grateful to Raoul. Although he was a bit strange, he was someone who had helped her a great deal. Her face flushed when she recalled Raoul's handsome appearance. She felt flustered by her own thoughts, scolding herself for letting her mind wander too far. Nakia was rushing through the streets with an anxious look, his mind spinning with thoughts about the identity of the person he had just confronted. Without further hesitation, Nakia sought out the small house where a faint yellow light still glowed in the darkness. Nakia peeked through the door and softly called out his loved one's name with anticipation. Nakia stepped quickly into the room, hoping for a reply after his long journey. He was met only with a terrifying silence, making Nakia start to feel uneasy. Nakia's eyes widened in horror when he saw the unusual scene on the bed. A knife was plunged into the pillow, pinning a threatening note right where Nakia's loved one used to lie. Nakia trembled as he picked up the note. The cold words appeared before his eyes like a death sentence. Nakia collapsed, tears welling up as he realized his loved one had been kidnapped.